From the zinc fences of Grange Hill, he rose. Born into a world where opportunities were scarce and dreams were often crushed by the weight of reality, he was determined to carve out a different path for himself. The narrow, winding streets of Grange Hill were filled with the sounds of daily struggles, but also with the whispers of ambition and the echoes of resilience. It was here, amidst the rusted zinc fences and the humble homes, that a young boy named Malta began to dream of a life beyond the hills. Not with kindness but command. As he grew older, Malta realized that the world he lived in was not one that would be changed by gentle words or kind gestures. It was a world that respected strength and authority. He learned quickly that to survive, and more importantly to thrive, he needed to command respect. His demeanor hardened, his gaze became more intense, and his voice carried the weight of someone who was not to be trifled with. Malta's rise to power was not a story of benevolence but one of sheer determination and an unyielding will to succeed. Now the streets whispered a name that meant power and danger. They called him Malta. Title: The Last Move. The once quiet and unassuming boy from Grange Hill had transformed into a figure of authority and fear. The shadowy streets at night, once a place of mystery and uncertainty, now echoed with the tales of his exploits. People spoke in hushed tones, their voices filled with a mix of awe and trepidation. Malta had become a legend in his own right, a name that commanded both respect and fear. His journey from the zinc fences of Grange Hill to the headlines of the urban jungle was a testament to his indomitable spirit and his relentless pursuit of power. This is the story of Malta, a man who rose from the hills to the headlines, leaving an indelible mark on the world around him. He didn't just take control, he meticulously planned every move, every decision, with the precision of a master chess player. His vision was clear, and his ambition knew no bounds. He wasn't just another leader, he was a visionary, a strategist, and a builder. He built a structure. This wasn't just any structure, it was a fortress of loyalty and power. Every brick, every beam, was a testament to his unyielding determination. The foundation was laid with trust, the walls erected with strength, and the roof sealed with unwavering loyalty. Young men were drawn in, many looking for identity, for protection. They came from all walks of life, each with their own story, their own struggles. Some were running from their past, others were searching for a future. But all found a place within the Haughton Gang. They found a brotherhood, a family, a cause worth fighting for. But what they became was something far more dangerous. They transformed from lost boys into formidable men. Their loyalty was fierce, their resolve unbreakable. They moved through the shadows, their presence felt but rarely seen. They were a force to be reckoned with, a silent storm brewing in the heart of the city. The Haughton Gang had no uniform, no anthem, just loyalty and silence. Their bond was their strength, their silence their shield. They communicated through unspoken words, their actions louder than any anthem. They were united not by appearance, but by purpose. In the quiet of the night, in the hustle of the day, they stood as one. The Haughton Gang was more than a group. It was an unbreakable brotherhood, a testament to the power of unity and the strength of silence. Rivalries escalated. Lines were drawn, not in ink, but in fear. Entire neighborhoods became caution zones. For many, it was no longer about choice, it was about survival. Soon, Malta's name wasn't just whispered, it echoed through newscasts, town halls, and police briefings. A gang war was no longer rumor, it was reality, and Jamaica wanted answers. Behind closed doors, law enforcement went to work. In a room filled with maps, documents, and the hum of computers, officers and detectives gathered to strategize. The air was thick with tension and determination. They knew the stakes were high, and every decision made in that room could mean the difference between success and failure. The team was a mix of seasoned veterans and fresh faces, each bringing their unique skills to the table. They weren't just reacting to the latest crisis. They were planning, anticipating, and staying one step ahead of the criminals. They weren't just reacting, they were building something. A digital map. This map was more than just lines and symbols, it was a living, breathing representation of the criminal landscape. Every piece of data, every bit of intelligence, was meticulously analyzed and plotted. The map grew and evolved, revealing patterns and connections that were invisible to the naked eye. It was a tool that allowed the officers to see the bigger picture, to understand the movements and strategies of their adversaries. A voice network, a case. The communication network was the lifeline of the operation. It connected officers in the field with those in the command center, ensuring that information flowed seamlessly and in real time. Every call, every message, was a piece of the puzzle. The detectives worked tirelessly, sifting through case files, cross-referencing data, and piecing together the story. They knew that every detail, no matter how small, could be the key to cracking the case. Step by step, the police gathered eyes and ears. Surveillance operations were set up with cameras and listening devices placed strategically to monitor the suspects. The detectives watched and listened, gathering evidence and building their case. It was a painstaking process, requiring patience and precision, but they knew that every second of footage, every snippet of conversation, brought them closer to their goal. The operation was in full swing, and the officers were ready to strike when the time was right. One night, a call came in. A quiet voice, a location. Not the first lead, but this one had weight. Authorities moved. No noise, no lights, only purpose. It ended in quiet, no resistance, just a man, once feared, now seated in silence. The reign of Malta was over. For those who lived through it, his name still echoes. To some he was a warning. To others, a symbol of what the system failed to stop. But Grange Hill was breathing again. From the boy in the hills to the shadow behind a name, this was the rise and the fall of Malta. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.